just look at what was for sale, and like I always looked at cars from the 90s. For me, it's about the nostalgia of, you know, growing up and fantasizing about what you would buy. So this car I made when I was in 3rd grade.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Build. My name is Cody Green, and today we have a crazy 90s car collection for you guys. Now, the 90s were an era of a lot of cars, but a lot of amazing cars. These are a few of the staple cars from that era. But anyways, enough of me talking, enjoy the show.
My name is Mark Showman, and this is my car collection. I guess my earliest memories of any toy I owned was a car. I had a huge Matchbox collection when I was growing up. I remember everything that I did or focused on was car related. I was reading all the car magazines at the time, and I was obsessed with just the concept of driving.
Do you feel like some of the car collection that you have now is like influenced by cars that you were like, that's a car I want?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's where I differ from some other collectors. I always looked at cars from the 90s because that's when I thought about buying all these cool cars. The first sports car I was exposed to was a Datsun 280Z 2+2. Same color as the 240Z that I have. And my best friend Mike's dad had this 280Z in the garage, and we used to sit inside it, pretend like we were shifting and driving it. So that was like a first exposure, and then his dad would take us out in it because it was a 2+2, and it would tear up around the neighborhood, and it was so cool. And I was always into cars all the way up until that point, but I feel like once you start getting to the point where you have a driver's license, like the whole concept of a car is totally different. The first car I got was a 318i, and I had that in college, and then the air conditioning broke, and I took it to the BMW dealer. It took them about 4 or 5 weeks to get all the parts for this 318 piece of crap. In the meantime, they gave me an M3 convertible loaner car, and that probably was the first time that I kind of got ruined, where I was like, this car is fast. And at that time in the 90s, you know, nowadays you see an M model, I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, every 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. In 95, the M3 was the only M model BMW had, period. And so when you saw one, you're like, holy cow, like, that's an M model.
The BMW M3.
And the M3 at that time, I thought was the coolest car. I think about when I had an E36 for 15 years, I wanted to do all these mods on it, but I didn't have the money to do it. So it's like, I think, okay, if I back then wanted to do it, but didn't have the money, and now I have the money, I'm gonna do that mod. So this is the LTW splitter, which is an adjustable splitter, so it actually goes forwards and backwards. It's in the middle setting right now, but it can actually come out like another inch.
Oh, that's cool.
If you want, or you can have it flush with the bumper. Bumper cover has to be modified because apparently the LTW front fascia is different.
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit of a process to get it in place. So it's cars I've owned, cars that I want. So I had a M235 before as my daily driver.
Okay.
There's the Veilside RX-7, which I love, that color combo. Yeah, and then I have some sort of bits of stuff from history. So this car I made when I was in 3rd grade, and you could see I was trying to draw the outline of a Porsche with a big whale tail.
It's cool to have that on the shelf along with everything else.
Yeah, and then Pinewood Derby car I made when I was in Cub Scouts that ended up winning that year.
So you're 100% right. Like you had it like.
Oh yeah,
cars have been like in your blood for a long
totally
time.
Yeah, which is interesting because my dad was not into cars at all.
Really?
My dad's an engineer. His opinion was a car was only for transportation.
Were there anything specific about these license plates?
Yeah, so the I1 is from the Lotus. The model for the Elise is the 111, so it's 111.
Gotcha.
But then I just threw in the eyes because I thought that looked cool. And then Baller I had on the NSX for a while, but then some girl I was dating thought it was stupid, so I changed it. Jaldi is from, I had moved back from India, and I put that on the Lotus because Jaldi is what you say to people when you're like trying to tell them to get out of the way, like hurry up, move out of the way.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, Jaldi, Jaldi. And Bedora is Spanish for like living the good life. So
I see like little keychains on them all matched too, like different things.
yeah. This one has the Type R number, so it's number 328 in the series. There was a white Type R that was super low miles that sold for, I don't know, like some ridiculous amount, like, I don't know, $80,000.
Yeah.
Everyone's like freaking out, like, why would you spend $80,000 on a car like that? This is the argument. Well, you could buy X car for the same amount of money and it's got more performance.
Yeah.
But that's not the point of buying a Type R. Type R is rarity. Type R is at the rarity factor. They only imported 1,300 championship white Type Rs, 97, 98. That would put the Type R as same production as a Ferrari F40. And at the time, it had the most horsepower per liter of any car on the market, more than the 355. So to eke that many horsepower out of this tiny little engine was amazing, and it revs super high. It's like 8,500 redline. The guy I bought it from worked for Acura for a long time, and so he had a lot of restoration done to it as far as the mechanicals to all original spec stuff. The NSX was just a car, again, like he played in Gran Turismo. It was sort of the pinnacle of Japanese sports cars in the 90s, and I always wanted one. I was also looking at like a 355, a Supra. It just looks so different than those cars. It's fast, it sounds good, it looks good. People instantly recognize it. The design looks fresh to me. It doesn't look dated. As far as the NSX mods, that's the O2 bumper on the back. And then the metal diffuser is an aftermarket product, and then the exhaust is custom made. But I feel like the stock NSX handled like a lot of Japanese like luxury cars at that time. I mean, there's a lot of body roll, it's very squishy in the corners, but small little tweaks made it 1,000 times better. Just lowering it a little bit, getting bigger wheels, bigger tires, a stiffer spring, just added some titanium reinforcements to the chassis. It's kind of dialed in, and it handles extremely well.
So what's next for the collection? Like what cars are on your list of other cars that you feel like you need to have?
I would love to get a Veilside RX-7 as made notorious in the movie Fast and Furious 3. I don't like body kits at all, but that's the one car I think looks better with a body kit on it. It's such an iconic movie car that people instantly recognize it. If I got one, I would get one from Japan that's already been converted. I certainly don't ever buy a car thinking, oh, this is gonna go up in value, or I'm gonna flip it and make money off of it. The car kind of represented like freedom, where like you could just go anywhere, anytime. Yeah, I think for me it's more of a nostalgia thing. Hard to decipher when you're running away from the cops. It was that concept of freedom, going fast, the sound, the design. I kind of look at cars as art.